5 types of neighbors to avoid. 1. The nosy neighbor. The nosy neighbor is one who frequently crosses boundaries to pry into the personal lives of those around them. This type of neighbor is often motivated by curiosity, but their actions can feel intrusive. They might ask probing questions, comment on your daily activities, or attempt to involve themselves in your personal matters. Such behavior can be stressful, as it leads to a sense of having limited privacy within one's own home. Real-life example. A woman named Sarah shared a story about her nosy neighbor, who frequently watched her from their shared fence and commented on her comings and goings. Sarah began to feel uncomfortable even stepping outside, eventually installing privacy fencing to create a stronger boundary. Research supports the idea that this type of behavior can induce feelings of anxiety and violation of personal space, as people naturally require a sense of privacy in their living environments. Impact. Studies on privacy invasion indicate that people experience higher levels of stress when they feel their private life is being observed without consent. Nosy neighbors can exacerbate these feelings, leading residents to take measures to protect their boundaries or even avoid interacting with the neighbor altogether. 2. The party animal. The party animal neighbor is known for frequent loud gatherings that can disrupt the peace of the neighborhood. Their parties may stretch into late hours, often ignoring noise ordinances and creating disturbances that affect neighbors' sleep and overall well-being. Excessive noise pollution has been shown to negatively impact health, contributing to elevated stress levels, poor sleep, and even cardiovascular issues over time. Real-life example. On various social media platforms, individuals share stories of neighbors who hold frequent loud gatherings, disregarding others' requests to tone down the noise. One person recounted their frustration when their repeated complaints about late-night noise went unaddressed, eventually leading them to call local authorities. The resulting tension turned the neighborhood relationship sour. Impact. Numerous studies have highlighted the negative impact of noise pollution on health, especially when it disrupts regular sleep patterns. For individuals seeking peace at home, living near a party animal can significantly degrade their quality of life. In cases where authorities become involved, this neighbor can lead to even greater strain within the community. 3. The boundary breaker. Boundary breakers show little respect for property lines and shared spaces. They may use common areas without permission, allow their pets to roam into others' yards, or expand their personal belongings onto shared property. This type of neighbor can create frustration and conflict, especially if they repeatedly disregard requests to respect established boundaries. Real-life example. John, a homeowner, shared his experience with a neighbor who would frequently park on his lawn and let their dog run freely through John's garden. Despite polite requests and reminders, the neighbor continued, leading John to install a fence to safeguard his property. This example highlights the lack of consideration that some boundary breakers exhibit and the steps others may take to reclaim their space. Impact. Boundary violations are among the most common sources of conflict between neighbors, according to conflict resolution experts. When boundaries are consistently ignored, residents often feel a lack of control over their living environment, leading to tension and even legal disputes in some cases. 4. The gossip spreader. Gossip spreaders are neighbors who thrive on sharing information, often inaccurate or exaggerated, about others in the community. They may pry into personal details and then share those details with other residents, sometimes embellishing them. Gossip can erode trust among neighbors and create an uncomfortable living atmosphere for those who become the subject of rumors. Real-life example. Emma, a new resident, found herself the target of gossip when a neighbor spread rumors about her personal life. The misinformation quickly circulated, creating awkwardness and even confrontations with other neighbors. In the end, Emma had to address the gossip directly to clear her name. Impact. The harmful effects of gossip are well documented. Studies have shown that gossip can lead to reputational damage, increased stress, and social anxiety, especially when it occurs within close-knit communities where misinformation can spread quickly. 5. The uncooperative neighbor. Uncooperative neighbors avoid participating in neighborhood responsibilities or refuse to make compromises when issues arise. This type of neighbor may disregard community guidelines, neglect shared spaces, or resist initiatives that benefit the whole neighborhood. Their unwillingness to contribute can create frustration and a sense of inequity among more cooperative residents. Real-life example. In one neighborhood, a resident who refused to participate in regular maintenance of shared walkways created tension among others who felt they were carrying the burden alone. This lack of cooperation soured relationships and led to resentment, as other residents felt exploited. Impact. When community efforts are unbalanced, the overall neighborhood atmosphere can suffer. Cooperative living spaces rely on teamwork and mutual respect. Uncooperative neighbors undermine this harmony and can create animosity among residents. 5 types of relatives to keep your distance from. 1. The constant critic. Constantly critical relatives are known for their habit of offering unsolicited advice or harsh judgments. They tend to focus on others' perceived flaws or shortcomings, often undermining confidence or creating self-doubt. Psychological research has demonstrated that individuals exposed to regular criticism may experience increased anxiety and even depression over time. Real-life example. A young woman shared how her aunt frequently belittled her career choices, suggesting that she wasn't living up to her potential. This repeated criticism wore her down emotionally, leading her to limit her interactions with her aunt. Such constant negativity can create a toxic atmosphere, especially during family gatherings. Impact. Constant criticism, even if it's framed as tough love, can have detrimental effects on one's mental health and self-esteem. Establishing boundaries with critical relatives allows individuals to preserve their confidence and emotional well-being. 2. The self-centered relative. Self-centered relatives often focus conversations and interactions around their needs, interests, and issues, showing little regard for others' lives. Such relatives rarely offer support but frequently expect others to cater to their needs. Relationships with self-centered relatives tend to feel draining and one-sided. Real-life example. A man recounted how his cousin would only reach out during times of personal crisis, never reciprocating emotional support. Feeling used, he eventually decided to reduce their interactions. Self-centered individuals can often deplete their relatives' emotional reserves, leading to burnout and resentment. Impact. Research shows that relationships perceived as one-sided or inequitable often lead to dissatisfaction and mental exhaustion. Limiting interaction with self-centered individuals can help maintain emotional health and avoid becoming an emotional support system for someone who rarely reciprocates. 3. The drama magnet. Drama magnets seem to attract or create conflict wherever they go, often stirring up arguments or rehashing old disputes during family gatherings. This type of relative thrives on conflict and has a tendency to involve others in their personal problems, often creating an uncomfortable atmosphere for everyone around them. Real-life example. During family events, a woman found her brother consistently bringing up past conflicts and creating tension. This behavior turned every gathering into a battleground, leading family members to dread his presence. This type of relative often leads others to avoid family events or reduce interaction altogether. Impact. Constant exposure to drama and conflict can be exhausting and harmful to mental health. Establishing boundaries and minimizing time with drama-prone relatives can lead to a more peaceful and enjoyable family dynamic. 4. The manipulator. Manipulative relatives use guilt, obligation, or emotional blackmail to influence others' actions. These relatives often disguise their requests as favors, making others feel compelled to comply. This form of manipulation can lead to a sense of exploitation and resentment over time. Real-life example. A woman shared how her mother would frequently guilt-trip her into financial support, often framing it as a duty of family loyalty. She eventually had to set firm boundaries to protect herself emotionally and financially. Impact. Manipulation can erode self-esteem and cause individuals to question their self-worth. Setting boundaries with manipulative relatives is essential for maintaining personal autonomy and mental well-being. 5. The envious relative. Envious relatives often feel resentment towards others' successes, sometimes going so far as to belittle achievements or subtly undermine confidence. This form of jealousy can make family interactions uncomfortable, especially when achievements are downplayed or dismissed. Real-life example. A man described how his brother consistently belittled his job promotion, attributing it to luck rather than effort. This dynamic strained their relationship, as the man felt unsupported and resentful. Impact: envy disrupts trust and goodwill within family relationships. Limiting contact with envious individuals helps to avoid negative energy and fosters a more supportive circle of relationships. Conclusion: setting boundaries for personal well-being. Navigating relationships with challenging neighbors and relatives requires awareness, assertiveness, and the courage to set boundaries. By recognizing these types of challenging behaviors, individuals can protect their mental and emotional health, creating a living environment that is supportive rather than draining. Developing skills in boundary setting and communication can be the first step toward a more balanced, fulfilling social life and family dynamic.